the things we wanted to do in the off weeks, and Brady, I think, said it the best, is number one, fundamentally get better at every single position. Offensive line, quarterback, wide receiver, every position. We really did go back and start over with some things that we did during fall camp, because I don't know if we'd gotten away with it, gotten away from it. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but we were going back to confirm what we felt was the most important thing. Number two was be cognizant of taking care of the football. That was number one. I should have said that first. That's number one, was making sure we took care of the football. So that's really was our approach going into the game.
Was it part of game plan to keep Devin Gardner out of some of those? I mean, it seemed like he was in more safer positions, or was that Devin just?
Yeah, that was part of the plan. Absolutely. What happened? The UConn game was a play caller's nightmare. We were in so many bad down and distances. It was just horrible. I mean, whether it was second long, third long, whatever. And that's not, like I say all the time, that's not always the player's fault. That's sometimes I got to do a better job of getting us to get down and distances. So that was part of our plan too. Like I told you guys a year ago, when you have a bye, you get a chance to go back and look at everything you're doing. I mean, that means personnel-wise, play calling-wise, game plan-wise, everything. So as a coordinator, I took 2 days. A lot of the other coaches were out recruiting. I was allowed to stay in and take 2 days and just, turn us upside down and see what we needed to get better at. And, when the coaches came back, we sat down and addressed all those things, personnel schemes, the whole thing. And I think we took a step in the right direction. We're not anywhere close to where we want to be still. But part of the thing was we want to take some pressure off the quarterback, without taking the ball totally out of his hands, too, because he could be a very dynamic playmaker, and when he uses good judgment, he's as good as anybody. So that was part of our approach.
Taylor said that Graham was always graded out better at center, and that he's a guy who almost plays better with more on his plate, having to do more. Is that what you?
He's a smart guy that plays very, very hard, and that helps. And the fact that he'd been playing center. This was not I won't say it's a seamless transition, but it wasn't a tough one because he's been playing center all the way through. He and Jack have been battling in that position, and then playing left guard, when it was, an alternate reps. So for him to jump in there and play center was really not a big deal for him, But he's a kid that is just, kind of a self-made lineman. When he came here, I wasn't sure he'd ever play here. But he's worked his tail off, and he's earned everything he's got. He's become, at this point, knock on wood, pretty solid.
Why didn't you think you were going to play?
Well, he's a freshman. He's running into people.
Yeah.
Not knowing who to block. A walk-on kid, he's got to get your attention. That's unfortunate about it. Being a walk-on kid is to get in the lineup, they got to get coach's attention because we're always looking at the guys we recruited first. But it's a credit to a walk-on kid that gets in the starting lineup because he's done something to really get you thinking he can play.
When did he first get your attention?
I think spring football, after his first year. Spring football, his first year, and it wasn't like he was going to take the world by storm, but he had made some drastic improvement, in so many ways. He worked hard in the weight room. It's important to him. That's all the coach asks. Is that, if it's important to you, you'll do all the right things to get you as good as you can be. If that's good enough to play, then great. If it's not, then as long as you're doing the best you can do, and I think he's done that.
You were able to get Derek Green more reps. Was that because you were getting yourself in good game situations, or because of that kind of bye-week overhaul?
No, that was really the plan from the beginning. Here's the deal with that: is when you got a young back, you're going to play him. If you play him earlier, if the game's close, you're going to get scared to play him later. And this was another thing we evaluated: is we had to take a little pressure off Fitz. Fitz was carrying too much of the load. And Fitz is in fabulous condition, but even at the end of the UConn game, he's starting to run out of gas. I think anybody would. So we said, we got to get Derek in the game and get him in early before it gets tight. If the game gets tight, then we get scared to put a guy in there that maybe doesn't understand our blitz pickup as well, or maybe he's going to do something that, any young guy would do. It's not Derek, it's any young guy. So we just decided we're going to put him in early. We're going to make sure he gets some pops, and hopefully, if it goes as smooth as we want, we'll just keep playing him here and there. And we did. That worked out pretty much the way we wanted, but only because we kind of committed to